Yo, Camille here. So, Tighnari has been just officially announced in the 3.0 livestream. In this video, we're going to be explaining all of his talents, his passive, and how he might work. So, without further ado, please don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and let's begin. Alright, so first of all, starting off with his auto attacks, he's just gonna have simple auto attacks. They're gonna be physical. He's just gonna have 4 hits. But he's gonna have 2 levels of his charge attacks. He's gonna have the level 1 aim shot, where he's just gonna be infused with Dendro and then shoot the arrow. This is like the regular aim shot for any bow character. And if you hold your aim shot a little bit longer, then he's gonna have a level 2 aim shot. At a level 2 aim shot, he's gonna fire off a rate arrow. When that rate arrow is gonna hit, he's gonna hit an opponent, and then 4 another cluster bloom arrows are gonna hit the opponent. So the charge shot is gonna hit, and then it will kind of split, and then another 4 arrows are gonna hit the enemy. The other 4 arrows are called the cluster bloom arrows. It's gonna deal decent damage, but keep in mind the charge time is kind of long. It's gonna be around 3 seconds or 2.8 or something like that, which is kind of long. So yeah, that's it with his auto attacks. Now moving on to his elemental skill. So first of all, you can throw your elemental skill and it's going to do damage. Not really much damage, but it's just going to do some damage. And then it's going to create a field, and the opponents inside of the field are not going to attack you. They're going to be distracted. But most importantly, your elemental skill is going to give you the Vainana Penetrate effect. This effect is going to reduce the charge time of your level 2 arrow by 2.4 seconds. And as I said before, this is huge because they deal a lot of damage, and the only problem with them is the charge time. But when you reduce the charge time by 2.4 seconds, they become very valuable. This effect is going to last for 12 seconds after using your elemental skill, but it also ends after you use 3 arrows. So after you fire off 3 arrows, it's going to disappear and you're going to return to your normal charge time. Now moving on his elemental burst. His elemental burst is pretty simple. You're just gonna fire off 6 shafts. Each one of them is gonna deal Dendro damage, and then when they hit, each one of them is gonna create another shaft, and this second shaft is gonna deal Dendro damage. So 6, each one's gonna create another one, so in total you're gonna have 12 shafts. All of them are gonna deal Dendro damage, and that's it. His burst cost is only 40 energy with 12 seconds of cooldown, which is very good. Now moving on to his passives. So his first passive is that Tighnari can convert Elemental Mastery to damage bonus. Each point of Elemental Mastery is going to be converted to 0.06 elemental damage bonus to your Elemental Burst and your charge attacks, with a maximum of 60%, which you're going to need 1,000 Elemental Mastery to reach. This is not a huge scaling with Elemental Mastery, but it's pretty good, because usually you might want to build Elemental Mastery on Tighnari anyways. Maybe not get it to 1,000 because that's incredibly hard, but it's still pretty good. Second passive is after you fire a rate arrow, your elemental mastery is going to be increased by 50 for 4 seconds. A rate arrow is your level 2 charge shot. So yeah, that just straight up increases your elemental mastery. You're probably going to be firing them off back to back. And as I said before, you'll probably want to use only 3 because the charge time after that is going to be pretty long. So your elemental mastery can be increased by 150 from this passive. So now we're done with his talents and passive. Let's talk a little bit about what he can be and how he might be used. I just want to say, guys, Dendro in general is still new. We don't know much about the reactions and stuff like that and how they scale. So it's hard to figure out his best teams and best rotations and how he can exactly be played, but we can speculate. So yeah, let me just give you my opinion. So Tighnari looks like he might be played in quick swap teams with Dendro reactions. So you don't want to use Tighnari on the field for a long time, like Ganyu for example. I see a lot of people compare him to Ganyu with the charge attacks and stuff like that. That's probably not going to be the case. With Tighnari, you just want to use your elemental burst, skill, charge attack 3 times and then just leave. You probably don't want to stay on the field for a long time because, as I said before, his charge attacks after that are not really going to be reliable. So yeah, it's going to be in a quick swap, and the way we're seeing he's going to be scaling with Elemental Mastery, is probably gonna be a reaction based like character. Or at least I hope so, because if he's not, then it's gonna be long. But yeah, if he's a reaction based character, how it's gonna go is that, as I said, you're gonna do Tighnari's rotation. So like burst, skill, charge attack, and then leave. And then you'd want to use your other supports like skills. For example, I don't know about the Dendro reactions, but let's say you'd want to use them with like Catalyze. So you'd want to use your Electro supports like Fischl, for example, Raiden, Yaimiko, I don't know. And then you'd want to use like Bennett, for example, as a attack buffer. And then I don't know, any supports you have, you're gonna use them. Preferably you'd want to use supports who can like stay on the field after you use them. Like even though you swap in, for example, as I said, Yaimiko, maybe Xiangling, you know, characters like that. And then back into Tighnari, do your elemental burst, skill, charge attacks, and repeat again. His elemental burst is gonna have a short cooldown, which is very good for this. So yeah, that's how it looks like he might be played. But again, we're not really 100% sure though, so take this with a grain of salt. So yeah, that was the video guys. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel. If you want to say anything, leave it in the comments, and see y'all in the next video. Peace.